The phone rang at 3 a.m. Clint Eastwood picked it up expecting a wrong number. Instead, a cold voice whispered, "You made us look bad, Dirty Harry. Stop making cop movies or we'll stop you permanently." That night in 1971, Clint Eastwood learned that playing a tough cop on screen had made him a real target for the deadliest criminals in America. This is the story of how one film role almost cost him his life. Have you ever been threatened for standing up for what's right? Tell us in the comments about times when doing the right thing put you in danger. And if you want to hear more stories about Hollywood stars who faced real-life threats for their movie roles, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the truth behind the glamour is often deadlier than any script. In the spring of 1971, Dirty Harry filming was underway in the cold streets of San Francisco. Clint Eastwood, in the role of Inspector Harry Callahan, was pointing his magnum at criminals while delivering one of cinema's most iconic lines, "Go ahead, make my day." But at that moment, neither Clint nor the producers knew what kind of waves this scene would create in the real criminal world. The film hadn't been released yet, but word-of-mouth stories circulating in Hollywood suggested that the character Clint was playing was very different from the classic police image. Harry Callahan was a cop who didn't follow rules, didn't care about Miranda rights, and preferred street justice to court justice. This was a radical approach even for liberal Hollywood of that era. During filming, the first warning signs began to emerge. Suspicious cars waiting around the set, unfamiliar faces watching the shoots, strange phone calls received by crew members. Security Chief Tom Bradley conveyed his concerns to Clint. "Too many wrong types of people are interested in these shoots. Maybe we should be a bit more careful." But Clint didn't feel a serious threat those days. After all, this was just a movie. He couldn't fully foresee how the character would be perceived in the real world, especially how it would be received in organized crime circles. When the film was released in December 1971, the reaction was much stronger than they had anticipated. While critics labeled the film as fascist propaganda, the public embraced it. But the most important reaction came from a completely different circle: organized crime. The film's portrayal of a no-nonsense cop who bent rules to catch criminals had struck a nerve with criminal organizations across America. For them, Dirty Harry represented everything they hated about law enforcement: a cop who couldn't be bought, intimidated, or reasoned with. Within weeks of the film's release, underground criminal networks began discussing this new cop propaganda and its star. Clint Eastwood had unknowingly made himself a symbol of everything organized crime was fighting against. On a cold January night in 1972, when the phone rang at Clint Eastwood's Beverly Hills home, it was exactly 3:17 a.m. Clint woke from deep sleep, initially thinking it might be a wrong number or an emergency. When he answered the phone, he encountered an unfamiliar, cold, and calculated voice. "Clint Eastwood? Yes, who is this?" "You're the guy who made that cop movie, Dirty Harry." At this point, Clint was fully awake. There was danger in the tone of the voice. "The movie is just a movie. How can I help you?" "That movie makes fun of us, shows cops as heroes, makes us look like monsters. We don't like that. It's just a fictional story." "Not fictional anymore. You're making cop propaganda, and we won't allow that. This is your warning. Stop making police movies." The line went dead. Clint held the phone for several minutes, trying to understand exactly what had happened. Then he immediately called the security company. The next morning, security expert Dave Morrison was at Clint's house. Morrison was an experienced former FBI agent who provided security consulting to most Hollywood stars. But he sensed a different seriousness about this matter from Clint. "Mr. Eastwood, these types of threats usually come from random fans, but this seems different. Organized, calculated. Your Dirty Harry role has created discomfort in real criminal circles." "What do you mean?" "Harry Callahan in your film is a cop who fights organized crime and doesn't follow rules. This is an ideal enemy profile for real crime organizations. They might be identifying you with this character." Clint initially found this exaggerated, but Morrison's explanations made sense. Dirty Harry wasn't just fighting individual criminals, but also organized crime networks. And the film's message was clear. Sometimes rules needed to be bent to achieve justice. Morrison explained the psychology behind the threats. Mr. Eastwood, for these organizations, movies aren't just entertainment. They're powerful propaganda tools that shape public opinion. Your characters made cops look good and criminals look bad. That's a direct threat to their business model. The security assessment revealed disturbing information. Phone records showed the threatening call had been made from a payphone in Little Italy, a known gathering place for organized crime figures. The caller had used specific terminology that suggested familiarity with criminal operations. More concerning was the timing. The threat came just as rumors were circulating about a Dirty Harry sequel. Someone was monitoring Clint's career closely enough to know about projects that hadn't been officially announced. The second phone call came in the first week of February. This time, Clint was prepared and recorded the conversation. The voice seemed to belong to the same person, but this time had much more specific threats. "You didn't listen to our warning. We hear you're preparing to shoot Magnum Force." Clint was shocked. The Magnum Force project hadn't been officially announced yet. Having this information showed that their connections were much deeper than he thought. "This project will be stopped. Either you stop it, or we stop it." Is this a threat? This is reality. Stop making cop movies or face the consequences. This time, Clint called the FBI directly. The next day, Special Agent Richard Kellerman from the Beverly Hills FBI office was at Clint's house. Kellerman's area of expertise was organized crime, and he made it clear that he took Clint's situation very seriously. "Mr. Eastwood, we've analyzed the threats you received. We had our experts listen to the voice recordings. There are strong indications that they come from a professional organization." "Which organization?" "We can't say for certain yet, but the Dirty Harry film has indeed disturbed several crime families. The anti-hero police character in the film is being identified with real cops who make their jobs harder." Kellerman explained the seriousness of the situation to Clint. According to FBI intelligence, some organized crime groups closely monitored Hollywood films for their potential to influence their image. While films like The Godfather that glorified criminals were supported, police-oriented films like Dirty Harry created hostility. Our recommendation is that you increase your security measures, and if you receive more threats, call us immediately. The FBI briefing revealed the sophisticated nature of the threat. Agent Kellerman explained that criminal organizations had learned to view Hollywood as a battlefield for public opinion. "Mr. Eastwood, your character has become a symbol. In their eyes, you're not just an actor playing a role, you are Dirty Harry." The psychological impact was deliberate. By targeting Clint personally, the criminals were sending a message to the entire entertainment industry: cross us and face consequences. The goal wasn't just to stop one actor, but to create fear throughout Hollywood. FBI analysis of similar cases showed this was part of a larger pattern. Other actors who had portrayed law enforcement positively had received similar threats, though none as organized or persistent as those targeting Clint. Magnum Force filming was set to begin in March, but just before starting, a new wave of threats came. This time, not just phone calls, but written messages too. Letters sent to Clint's agent, producers, and even studio executives conveyed the same message: Dirty Harry will not continue. Studio security chief Jake Peterson discussed the security measures to be taken for filming with Clint. "Mr. Eastwood, we need to take measures far above normal security protocols. Shooting locations will be kept secret. There will be armed security around the set. Your vehicles will be inspected." When filming began, Clint faced an atmosphere he had never experienced in his career. FBI agents and private security accompanied every location. Anyone showing suspicious behavior around the set was removed. Clint's stunt vehicles were changed daily. Routes were chosen randomly. In mid-March, a concrete incident occurred during filming. During a scene shoot in San Francisco, 3 men among the spectators caught the attention of security guards. They were photographing Clint from a distance and taking notes. When security approached, the men tried to escape. One of the captured men was found to have Clint's home address, filming schedule, and vehicle license plate numbers. During interrogation, they confessed to receiving an information-gathering mission from a specific crime organization. Their goal was to learn Clint's daily routine and find an appropriate time to warn him. This incident mobilized the FBI. This was no longer just a threat, but active surveillance and possible attack planning. The security briefing that followed was sobering. Agent Kellerman explained that professional surveillance indicated the threat had escalated from intimidation to potential violence. "Mr. Eastwood, they're not just watching you, they're studying you." The captured surveillance materials revealed disturbing details. The criminals had mapped out not just Clint's movements, but those of his family, his colleagues, and his business associates. This wasn't a spontaneous threat. It was a comprehensive intelligence operation. Most troubling was evidence that the surveillance had been ongoing for months, starting even before the first threatening phone call. The criminals had been building a detailed profile of Clint's life, looking for vulnerabilities and opportunities. At the beginning of April, the situation took on a completely different dimension. The package left at Clint's ex-wife Maggie Johnson's house showed that the threat was no longer targeting just Clint, but his family as well. What Maggie found inside the package horrified her. Photographs of their children Kyle and Allison taken after school with a note written on them. "Beautiful children. We wouldn't want anything to happen to them. Tell Dirty Harry to make the right decision." Maggie immediately called both Clint and the police. The photographs had been taken within that week and documented the children's daily routine in detail. Who went to school at what time, which route they used, who waited for them after school, everything was recorded. FBI agent Kellerman clearly explained the gravity of the situation to Clint. "Mr. Eastwood, this is no longer a hobby. This is a professional operation. Your children have also become targets. We recommend you consider the Federal Protection Program." Clint had never felt so helpless in his life. Throughout his career, he had been praised for his physical courage and mental strength. But when his children's safety was at stake, all that strength became meaningless. In the emergency family meeting that was convened, difficult decisions were made. Kyle and Allison were temporarily transferred to different schools. Security details were assigned. Family routines were completely changed. Clint's own security measures were also raised to the highest level. But the most important decision was different. Magnum force filming would continue. Clint refused to bow to threats. "If I back down from this film, I'll never be able to make films freely again. This isn't just my issue, it's Hollywood's independence issue." The psychological impact on the family was severe. Maggie later recalled, "We went from being a normal Hollywood family to living like we were in witness protection. The children didn't understand why they couldn't go to their friends' houses anymore, why there were always strangers watching them." Clint's decision to continue filming despite the family threats sent a clear message to the criminal organization. He would not be intimidated, even when his children were targeted. This defiance would have significant consequences in the weeks to come. In May, the FBI shifted from passive protection strategy to active intelligence gathering. Special Agent Kellerman, together with Clint, planned a counterintelligence operation against organized crime groups. "Mr. Eastwood, we have to find the source of these threats. There's an organized campaign against you, and unless we bring down the organization behind it, this situation will continue." The plan was simple but risky. Clint's movements would be deliberately made predictable. Followers would be caught and interrogated. This was a trap, but it used Clint as bait. The first operation took place on May 15th. Clint's lunch at a Beverly Hills restaurant was pre-leaked. FBI agents conducted surveillance from surrounding buildings. While Clint sat in the restaurant, he was detected being followed by 3 different vehicles. When he left the restaurant, one of the followers, a black Cadillac, began very close surveillance. The FBI used a pre-planned route to trap the Cadillac in traffic and surrounded it. When the 3 people caught in the vehicle were interrogated, the information revealed was shocking. This was not just a local crime organization. It was part of a network operating at the national level, with connections from Las Vegas and Chicago. Most importantly, they had not only Clint on their target list, but also other actors and directors making police-friendly films. Dirty Harry was just the beginning. The real plan was to systematically obstruct police and justice-oriented productions in Hollywood. The interrogation revealed a sophisticated media strategy. The organization had studied Hollywood's influence on public opinion and developed specific tactics to counter anti-criminal narratives. One captured operative, Frank the Fish Torino, provided crucial intelligence. Dirty Harry made cops look like heroes. Kids want to be cops now instead of fearing them. That's bad for business. We had to stop it. The scope of the operation was broader than anyone had imagined. Phone records showed coordination between criminal organizations across multiple states, all focused on controlling Hollywood's portrayal of law enforcement. In June, the FBI's in-depth investigation revealed the real structure behind the threats against Clint. This was not just a personal initiative of a few organized crime members. It was a much more complex and systematic operation. The secret recordings obtained by the FBI were shocking. In meetings held in Las Vegas casinos, Hollywood's impact on image was discussed in detail. While films like The Godfather were supported for romanticizing the Mafia, police-oriented films like French Connection and Dirty Harry were seen as enemy propaganda. Anthony Big Tony Marcuso, acting as the organization's media strategy expert, said in a secret meeting, "Hollywood controls our image. Godfather makes us look like gentlemen, that's good. But Dirty Harry makes us look like monsters. This must stop." The plan had 3 stages. First stage, threats to actors and directors. Second stage, economic pressure on studios. Third stage, physical attacks. Clint was the main target of the first stage because the Dirty Harry character had created the biggest impact. Even more disturbing was that the organization had sources within Hollywood. Some agents, producers, and even studio executives were taking money in exchange for cooperation. Information about Clint's filming schedules, script changes, and future projects was systematically leaking. FBI agent Kellerman explained the gravity of the situation to Clint. "Mr. Eastwood, you're not facing just a few criminals, but an organized industry control operation. You're seen as a symbol, not just an actor." The investigation revealed that the criminal organization had infiltrated multiple levels of the entertainment industry. Union representatives, equipment suppliers, and even some journalists were providing information or services to the criminal network. The financial aspect was equally disturbing. The FBI discovered that the organization was prepared to spend significant money to control Hollywood's narrative. They had budgeted millions of dollars for what they called image management operations. Most chilling was evidence of escalation plans. If threats and economic pressure failed, the organization was prepared to use violence. The FBI found detailed plans for attacks on actors, directors, and producers who continued to make anti-criminal content. At the end of July, the FBI conducted a coordinated operation against the Mafia network. In this operation, called Operation Spotlight, crime organization cells operating in Hollywood were simultaneously brought down. The critical moment of the operation was the capture of Anthony Marcuso. The documents found on Marcuso proved that there was a systematic intervention plan not only against Clint, but against undesirable projects in Hollywood. One of the most shocking documents was not the detailed plan prepared for Clint to be silenced with a definitive lesson. This plan included the armed attack on Clint's house, its timing, and the "this was just a robbery attempt" message to be given to the media afterwards with details. Other documents obtained by the FBI showed that the organization would not be content with just threats. Plans such as infiltrating the technical team to sabotage Magnum Force filming, causing set accidents, and even adding harmful substances to Clint's food had been prepared. Vincent "Vinny" Torino, one of the gang members caught during the operation, confessed during interrogation. "We had to finish Dirty Harry. He's not just a character, he's cop propaganda. It was very effective. Many people became police supporters. This makes our job harder." Torino's confession showed how seriously organized crime organizations took Hollywood films and how they calculated their social impact. Clint was seen as a real enemy, not just an actor. The FBI operation also revealed the organization's broader strategy. They weren't just targeting individual films or actors, but attempting to influence the entire entertainment industry's approach to crime and law enforcement. Evidence showed that the organization had successfully pressured other productions. Several planned police dramas had been canceled or significantly altered due to behind-the-scenes pressure. Clint's resistance had made him both a symbol and a primary target. The operation netted over 30 arrests across 5 states. The criminal network's Hollywood infiltration was exposed, leading to investigations of compromised agents, producers, and executives. In August, the FBI operation was largely successful. Gang members who posed a direct threat to Clint were arrested, and the organization's network in Hollywood was dismantled. However, the FBI's warning was clear. This was just one group, and other groups could make similar attempts. Clint's security measures were eased but not completely removed. He continued to be extra careful about his children's safety. And most importantly, he completed magnum force filming without any interruption. When the film was released in 1973, expectations were very high. Clint's struggle with threats had been covered in the media, causing the film to be eagerly awaited. Magnum Force achieved great box office success and guaranteed the continuation of the Dirty Harry series. But for Clint, the real victory was not surrendering to fear. Despite the threats, he had made the film he believed in, kept his character alive, and started the tradition of protected production in Hollywood. Years later, Clint would interpret this period as follows. "Those days taught me how the characters I played on screen were perceived in the real world. Dirty Harry wasn't just a role, it was a symbol, and some symbols create enemies." The impact extended beyond Clint's personal experience. The FBI's successful operation sent a message to other criminal organizations. Hollywood would not be intimidated. The entertainment industry's artistic freedom had been defended through law enforcement cooperation. However, the experience also changed how Hollywood approached certain types of content. Studios became more aware of the real-world implications of their films, especially those dealing with crime and law enforcement themes. The Dirty Harry phenomenon had proven that movies could have power beyond entertainment. They could influence public opinion about law enforcement, justice, and crime. This power came with both opportunities and risks. In the years following the FBI operation, threats against Clint decreased but never completely stopped. Similar warnings continued to come before each new Dirty Harry film. Security measures became routine during the filming of The Enforcer, 1976, Sudden Impact, 1983, and The Dead Pool, 1988. In 1975, FBI agent Kellerman gave Clint important information. "Mr. Eastwood, according to our intelligence, some crime organizations now see you not so much as a target, but as an uncontrollable risk factor. Your fight against threats has given courage to other actors too." Indeed, Clint's resistance had started a tradition of not bowing to crime organizations in Hollywood. Charles Bronson, Death Wish series, Gene Hackman, French Connection, and other police-friendly actors followed Clint's example when they faced similar threats. In 1980, Clint's security chief Dave Morrison made an assessment. Clint Eastwood's stance in 1972 was critically important for preserving Hollywood's independence. If he had backed down, crime organizations could have had much more say in the film industry. The long-term impact was significant. Hollywood developed new protocols for handling external threats to productions. The industry became more united in defending artistic freedom, partly due to Clint's example. The Dirty Harry series continued successfully throughout the 1970s and 1980s, with each film serving as a reminder that creative freedom had been defended. The character became not just an entertainment icon, but a symbol of resistance to intimidation. Law enforcement agencies also learned from the experience. The FBI developed specialized units to handle threats against entertainment industry figures, recognizing that such threats could have broader implications for free speech and artistic expression. The organized crime tactics revealed during the investigation influenced how law enforcement understood criminal attempts to control public opinion. The case became a textbook example of how criminal organizations sought to influence media narratives. Most importantly, Clint's refusal to be intimidated inspired other actors, directors, and producers to resist similar pressure. The entertainment industry learned that standing together against threats was more effective than giving in to individual intimidation. Clint Eastwood's threat period between 1971 to 1972 was not just one actor's personal struggle. This was a war between Hollywood's artistic freedom and organized crime organizations' media control. The Dirty Harry character had important consequences not just on screen but in real life too. Clint's determination to continue playing this character laid the foundation for the tradition of not bowing to fear politics in Hollywood. Years later, when Clint evaluated this period, he said, "When I was playing Dirty Harry, I thought I was just bringing a character to life. But I later realized that some roles require not just performance, but stance. Those days taught me the power and responsibility of art." According to FBI files, the last organized threat against Clint came in 1988, before the Deadpool release. But this time, Clint's answer was very clear. Dirty Harry has been alive for 17 years, and he won't die. Today, Clint Eastwood is remembered not only for his iconic films, but also for his courage in the face of threats. The decision he made in those dark days, not to surrender to fear, is considered one of the most important stances in Hollywood history. Because sometimes real heroism is not lived for cameras, but in life outside the cameras. And Clint Eastwood never backed down, both on screen and in real life. The legacy of those threatening months extends far beyond one actor's career. It established the principle that artistic freedom is worth defending, even at personal risk. The entertainment industry learned that some values cannot be compromised, regardless of the cost. Clint's story became a template for how creative professionals should respond to external pressure. His example showed that standing firm against intimidation not only protects individual artistic freedom, but strengthens the entire industry's independence. In the end, the criminals who threatened Clint Eastwood achieved the opposite of their goal. Instead of silencing the voice of justice in Hollywood, they amplified it. Dirty Harry became not just a character, but a symbol of resistance to criminal intimidation. And perhaps that's the greatest victory of all. When faced with the choice between fear and courage, between surrender and resistance, Clint Eastwood chose to fight. Both as an actor and as a man, he proved that some principles are worth any risk.
Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked the video and subscribe if you want videos like this to come. See you in the next story.